Yeah, I know I kind of like bounce around on the lectures and not necessarily follow the syllabus. Um, but what it comes down to is I see what a lot of you are doing. And so I start to think about what lectures I think would actually help you out. So there were some things I realized I left out in go-to-market. I mean, there's a lot of details involved. And so this is the second part, filling in little holes and gaps. Actually, you should see my digital marketing class. It's pretty funny. Every week, I add more stuff onto the lecture before because I realized, oh shoot, I should have talked about this, and this. And so we're ready to go to market. And the question is, what should we be looking for? And the thing to keep in mind is you're going to market is about an experiment on whether or not your product is acceptable. Well, a lot depends on the way you look at things. What's the point of view? Because going to market can have multiple points of view. Strategically, you say you're ready to go. Well, guess what? Your upper management and your founders, you yourself, think you should have been ready to go a year ago. In terms of marketing, you're concerned about how are you going to sell and get on the beach. In terms of your product, are you really ready to go out there and put this in somebody else's hands? Are you ripe enough to harvest? And the one thing to always keep in mind is don't overpromise and underdeliver. That's ultimately which kills all startups. When you do that, it's hard to raise money, the market doesn't want you, and the market is an unforgiving place. You don't get a second chance in most cases. So how do I go about getting on the beach? Well, the first part, think of it as this is a major battle. And so the first thing you need is intelligence. So understand the landscape you're getting into. Make sure your infrastructure is ready, that in terms of production, you can deliver on what you say you can deliver. Figure out where your entry points are going to be. What markets are you going after? The first 5 to 10 customers. And be ready to pivot. The way you touch the customer. Are you lined up to talk to the customer in the way that you can find the most of them? Soften the entry onto the beach. What do? First, they bomb the heck out of it before you go and get on there. And so this is about doing promotion and guerrilla marketing. Get your name out there. Then, once you start selling, understand your metrics. What you learn, keep feeding it back. Constantly keep improving. And then once you've established yourself, now it's time you've hit the knee in the curve. It's time to take off. So what this is all about, mostly in this stage, it's all about sales. It's time to make money. It's time to make transactions. And so this is all about the funnel. From the top of the funnel of getting awareness, getting leads, then the middle of the funnel, which is engaging your customer, getting them to finally pull the trigger and buy your product. And so it's all about getting sales at this point. Most likely you're going to be doing inbound marketing. So this whole mass of people out there, how do I divide them up into segments, into customers and buckets of customers that are going to be interested in my product? Now, there are cases where outbound makes a lot of sense. And that's if you have a very specific targeted product, then you don't necessarily need to go inbound. You know who you need to go after. And that's typically true for like B2B. I mean, you only have so many businesses out there that are going to be interested. So you can tailor and personalize your message. Now, in terms of lead conversion, getting this digital funnel is about attracting people in, once they get to your website, driving them from your landing page to a call for action, whether it's getting information or driving them to certain pages, engaging them. Think about how is it that you're going to convince them to go ahead and come on board with your product, and then converting that into where they're actually on the intent to make a purchase, and then landing that purchase and fulfilling it. And so that's the web approach. There are also a number of other approaches you can use, such as paying for ads, doing email, doing physical things, or contacting people directly, such as picking up the phone if you have like a really big customer. And so this is the augmentation grid. And what happens is, as you're picking a technique and you find that it's not working out well, you're feeding back that data, then pick another approach or do multiple approaches. And so you move along this grid and figure out what works better. Or maybe my engagement isn't going so well because I need more people, so I need to take a step back and work on my website. And so this is your digital funnel. Now, in terms of pricing, for big companies is what? It's about economics, that they have a supply and demand curve, and then the intersection of those points is where you should price something. And if your price is too high, then you've got a problem. You're going to lose money. If your price is too low, that's a good thing, because it means that demand will go up and you'll get greater quantities and all that kind of stuff. But what it comes down to is that these models work. Big corporations use these models. And why? Because they have established markets. It doesn't work quite right for you because you can't get the right data if you have truly new product. So where does that leave you? It leaves you looking at pricing in terms of tiers. And the bottom of the tier is if you price your product way too low. Don't think about, well, you have a bare minimum based on cost. But if your price is too low, they're going to view you as a commodity. Above that is, wow, this price is so low, something must be wrong with this. And so now you're a low quality product. So it's always not the best thing to be the lowest price provider. If you're slightly below the parity level, and the parity level means is that my price is at the reference point that my customers have set in their mind of what my product is worth. And so I'm at a discount. Above my parity levels, and I'm at a premium. I'm a premium product that people are paying more because there's something special about my product. And way above that is out of bounds. And out of bounds means nobody's going to pay $25,000 for a hamburger. Not going to happen. And so you need to figure out what the upper limit is on the pricing of your product, because there comes a point nobody will pay that price. It doesn't matter what you do. The value just isn't there. And so the way you can actually look at all this pricing is this pricing drives the conversation that you're going to have with customers. And that's that if you're in the parity or below range, then price is a big issue. And so that's not the place you want to be in, because you can't fight with an established company over price. You'll lose. The thing is, they've got cash. Anheuser-Busch decided they wanted to capture the light beer market. They were willing to lose money for 5 years to get market share, just because they believed it was going to grow that much. So that kind of gives you an idea of what you're going up against. If you're at parity or a little bit below the premium range, then what are they talking about? They're talking about you as a product, the features. What is it that you can do? So in that sense, you've gotten out of the price conversation. But the big danger of being in this area is they might start talking about you in terms of trivializing your product. Like, you can have a great apps, and they could sit there and go, oh, you're just Uber for boats or something like that. And customers do that all the time, because it allows them to understand the product. And so you don't want to, if you can avoid it, you don't want to be in that place, because you want to get them to pay more. And so if I'm in the premium range of pricing, then the discussion becomes, even though there are far fewer customers, the discussion at least moves better into what you can handle. And that's about the experience and the perception of your product. And so I had a boss once who, oh my God, I was so ready to strangle him. We had a very, very motivated cult customer, and he slashed the price on them, and they didn't even ask for a price cut. And I'm like, what are you doing? The problem is once you slash the price, that sets a reference point, and guess what? People aren't going to want to pay more than that later. So you have to be very, very careful about doing that sort of thing. But this is what Senor Chavez calls the reef. And so we'll continue on with this discussion in the next video.